Welcome to my channel, everyone. My name is Asha Sekhmet, and today I am going to be talking about how I became Asha Sekhmet. So the creation of me really came from watching Black women in previous generations follow feminism and seeing, even in my own family, what I did not want to become, what I did not aspire to be. I could talk with, a Black woman who was a doctor at the time or had this particular career status, and maybe she had the money and the BMWs and stuff. And I could just see, though, like years and decades into the future of her life choices. I could see the life that would be waiting for her, continuing to choose a counterfeit life, like a materialistic life, appeasing a system that was never meant for us to thrive in the community, and to continue to try to prove yourself to that system. And I chose to opt out of that. I chose that at a very young age because I just look at that as being a slave. Like, you can have a slave master can have favorites, and I just saw that as what Black women, who opted into feminism and choosing their careers of the previous generations, instead of redefining family dynamics in our communities with Black men, I saw that's what they were doing, so, being used, for many different things, the main is just money. You're just a cash flow dollar to someone else's community. I didn't see that as a future that I wanted for myself. So, as Spirit has it, I wanted a community. And I knew what a community was not, right? Which was what I was born into, right? That individualistic dynamic. You have one mother, one father, and one home with all these kids, baby mamas, baby daddies over here. We have stepchildren over here, stepchildren over there, right? That's a form of polygamy. Whether people want to play games and say, oh, that's not polygamy because they're not married or spouses at the same time, right? Who told you that? Who defined that for you? You're still being dictated by another language defining someone else's culture, right? So basically, I knew something was wrong. I'm like, okay, let's start here. Just basic family dynamics, because this isn't even a community. We can't grow a community if we're not even practicing as a natural indigenous people, family structures that are natural for us, right? Right. So I was like, okay. So I followed that. That was just radiating in my heart. I didn't care about the money. Obviously I needed a Black man. I needed to be married, because that is the foundation, of course, when you come together, but that's not all it is. Like that's not even how you get to a community. It's even more, it's more steps than that. So it made me think about the advancement of what a community actually is, and why, civilizations in human history, that were held down by what people look like me, Black people, if that's what you want to call them, water people, right? They were more advanced, like the pyramids and all that, because of the community and family structures that they practice, which is not mimicked to what we have today. So, like, it's not an advanced society, right? So basically, I wanted to figure out, well, where do we start and how can we do this, right? So my journeys had led me to going through my spiritual initiations, like I have told you all, for 7 years. And basically what I had realized is I went in with the intent that we need to work with our men, right? I didn't even know I was being led to polygamy at this time. I didn't even, it was just in my spirit. It's just in my DNA. Like, I'm like, yeah, like I'm just being led to do this. Like, okay, I'm working with particular groups and I'm working with particular groups of women in these organizations. And something was off because I started to realize, I'm like, okay, well, we're not out with bras, flinging here outside. And I'm like, that's what feminism looked like in my mind. But then I started to see a whole different subliminal spiritual feminism, which was a part of my initiation to understand what that is. Right. So, basically it's just a predisposition to invalidate Black men. If we're talking about Black feminism, right? It's about female empowerment. However, you can't have true female empowerment without male empowerment. So it would look the opposite because you have to work through the opposite sex to get to evolution and divinity, right? Because if you just did that for one side, you would actually you wouldn't even evolve in the way that the creation needs to mold together. You would be going outside of nature, and that's not natural. So the point is that I saw a lot of women who look like me, who were reverse role models, like showed me what not to do, the life choices, that it's just, like I said, so basically I wanted to become something that I intuitively knew I needed as the example of, but didn't exist. So I became something I needed, and I stuck with that. That was my main mode of my drive and my motivation, and where I anchor myself and where I pull all my inspiration from was seeing my higher self, right? Which is a creation of something that is alien. It doesn't exist. I was going towards being a feminine woman, a superior woman, and then even more than that, to proclaim my own self godhood within, which I had not seen before. I either see one side of the spectrum of a woman or the other side, right? So I wanted to create these different variations of woman in the same woman. So, that took me to where I am today, and, taking on the name Asha Sekhmet, which ultimately is to be something alien in this world. It doesn't exist. Like you're not going to see an image of me on TV. In fact, that's the most threatening image that could exist, is a Black woman who is about her community. Meaning you have to have a love, appreciation, appraisal, and acknowledgement for Black men. And then secondly, you have to be able to see further enough, right? Meaning that, you have to make sacrifices along the journey to get what you're truly seeking. So if you're looking for a temporary satisfaction of material gain, you will die broke, because that is a poverty mindset. So ultimately, it's about seeing far enough, because if you can choose the right Black man and you can work with him doing family structures that are natural for us, like polygamy, then you would ultimately get what it is you're seeking in life, which by female design, it's family and community. Females were not designed to operate as individuals. That's very unnatural. And that's why when you choose that, you are opting into a life of pain and suffering. And why would you want to do that? Do you think you deserve that? I don't think I deserve that. So, it's like ultimately I'm an orgasmic woman. Like I like being joyful and, I like fulfillment and satisfaction. It doesn't mean that every day is happy. That's a fairy tale that doesn't exist. But you can remain at a state of peace when you are in reality, meaning that you understand that there comes times when you need to sacrifice, put your feelings to the side, make decisions for the community needs above your own individual needs, and then all your needs will be met. Maybe that doesn't happen in a year or 2 years. Maybe that happens after 5 years or 10 years. But the point is, when you get closer to death, you die rich. You transition orgasmic. Like what? Like why would you want to die broke and alone in misery? I mean, that's a choice. We all have a choice. But, ultimately, this was the choice that I made in life, and everything else around me didn't support that. I didn't have any, family that actually supported that. And if anything, they told me to do the opposite of what I did, which was invest in a marriage and then continue to go down that route of doing polygamy. And now coming to what we have today, which is the creation of the Maji sister wife tribe that led me there. Right. So sisterhood, being organized and being at a certain level of your spiritual development that you can work with other women, other Black women who have sex with the same man that you have sex with, and you all can run family affairs together, teach, run your own schools, have a divine sisterhood. And then, of course, preparing the next generation of Black children, and self-sustaining. So working towards exiting one system and developing your own self-sovereign community. So that's how AshaSekhmet came to be. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see y'all in the next video.